Okay, folks. Yet again, Monique is telling the story. Tyler Perry, Oprah, yada yada yada. The only reason I'm doing a video on this is because the Breakfast Club brought it up. I think the video in question is from the Art of Dialogue, another popular, interview YouTube channel, and I don't really need to go into the details because I had at this point I had almost forgotten exactly what happened. This is centered around the press run for Precious, and it was about Monique not doing promotion that she wouldn't be compensated for. But it's pretty much like she was told you got to play the game to make it in the industry. And after she didn't, it's like, look, I did everything I was contractually obligated to do. And it's like, well, if you don't do this, well, then she got labeled as a, unruly, difficult to work with, yet this, that, and the third. And, you know, this was over 12 years ago. And see, my thing was, if I remember correctly, I think that for me, I knew about Monique's back and forth with Netflix before I knew about the Tyler Perry thing. I could be wrong about that though. I forgot exactly when the whole recorded phone call thing happened, but yeah, either way, this has been going on for over a decade. And here's my thing with this. Let it go. I mean, if you don't want to let it go, fine, but Monique is a talented comedian and actress, but her legacy is going to be this. The Netflix boycott, calling out Tyler, calling out Oprah. Yeah, Lee Daniels made peace with her, so that was great, and that was a great scene. What was it? He came out on stage to do a public apology, and they even worked on a project together. I want to say it was some sort of a BET Plus film, but it's just that I believe when she was on Club Shay Shay, she talked about how she wanted a public apology as well as restitutions, aka reparations, if you will. Basically, give me the millions that you cost me by labeling me difficult to work with and whatnot. And I'm like, I, it's her choice. She is able to communicate what she wants. If she wants to talk about this until her dying breath, then she's able to do so. But I just think that it's shameful to her legacy. The Parkers, her long running late night talk show on BET, her stand up and whatnot. But I don't know. I mean, because if we want to shift gears, like when the Netflix boycott thing came out, I thought it was ridiculous. And even though she eventually had a settlement with Netflix and put out a special, it was dog crap. It was garbage. All she did was get up on that stage and talk about the same stuff she's been venting about for a decade, about how wrong she's been. I mean, there were even clips circulating a year or so ago of her at some comedy event, and people got up and walked out because instead of getting up there and telling jokes, all she did was rant about how wrong she was. Now, personally speaking, when it comes to Dave Chappelle, I don't really rock with a lot of his recent stand-ups because they're nothing but him going up on stage and detailing his back and forth war with the alphabet community. And it's like, Dave, man, I'm a fan. I want the jokes. Like, I don't this whole thing with you and the trans and the gay community. Like, I don't care about that. I want the jokes, man. I'm a fan, but this ain't it for me. But it's kind of the same thing with Monique. It's like she's only making headlines. Her talent is being overshadowed by her bitterness. Now, with the Oprah thing, yeah, it was wrong. Like the whole thing about her inviting her family on her talk show after Monique personally asked, please don't do it because my brother, did stuff to me and, my family just, I don't want that. So, yeah, I get that. And then with the Tyler thing, it's like, yeah, but I just think that what good has it done? Honestly, people like her story has never changed and this, that, and that. Okay. But what good has all of this done for her career? What good has it done? Like, yeah, the Lee Daniels thing was great, but instead of burning bridges, you ought to focus on the bridges that you have intact. I mean, I think aside from the trio of Tyler, Daniels, and Winfrey, DL Hughley, when he worked with Monique on a comedy tour, after he was told like, "Yo, don't do it. It's not going to work out." He's like, "No, no, Monique is cool." And then they had their own back and forth online war. Essentially, like, if you don't tell Monique what she wants to hear and whatnot, you're a labeled an enemy. If you bring Monique a deal, then her daddy looks at it and wants, ruins contracts and all. It's like, I don't know. It's like, if so many people say the same thing about a person, it's probably true. That's all I'm saying. But Monique, it's just a shame that she's going to go down as the bitter, scorned comedian actress and being the mean mom in Precious. That's it. Because I think if we want to focus like on the Netflix thing, it's just the ridiculousness of it all. Her going on about not making Chris Rock, Chappelle, or Amy Schumer money. It's just that I think Monique represents a lot of people in the industry, regardless of the field, music or comedy, acting and whatnot. We live in a "what have you done for me lately" society, because nobody's taken away from Monique's accolades, even though I do think was inaccurate when she said something to the effect of, "I am the most decorated living comedian alive," or something like that. And I'm like, I don't think so. But either way, she talked about how the Netflix people called me a legend, and yet they only offered me $500,000. I thought you would have been in the industry long enough to know that when what people say and what people have on a paper or contract are two completely different things. It's just like the New Edition movie or New Edition story in part 2, where Gerald Busby explained to Mike about the contracts that he and the boys signed. Like, people will tell you and say a lot of things, but the only thing that matters is what's on the dotted line, what's on that contract. So it's like they say, know your worth. Like, you might think you're worth $50 million, but not everybody's going to see you that way. And it's like Monique, you can't expect to get a 8-figure deal like a comedian like a Chappelle or Chris Rock. Basically, you can't expect to get that level of money on par with comedians who are filling stadiums up when you're just doing like, small clubs and whatnot. It's not going to work. Yes, you have the accolades from past successes, but you got to think about a platform like Netflix. They're going to give the most money to the people they feel is going to generate the most buzz, the most clicks, the most engagement. Think about how many people at that time, the young folks, they didn't grow up with the Parkers. They didn't see your late night talk show. They didn't watch Fat Girls or, I'm trying to think, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. It's just that when you think about shows that stand the test of time, Everybody Hates Chris, The Dave Chappelle Show. And not only that, Rock and Chappelle were both doing successful tours. And that's why they got they got a big bag from Netflix, like Chris Rock with Tambourine, or the multiple, specials that Chappelle did. A Monique special, ain't nobody really clamoring for that the same way they would for a Chappelle, Rock, or, Cat Williams special. It's just that you can't expect to, it's like you won that Oscar and you felt like everything was supposed to just fall into your lap. But that's not how it works. It's not. Because maybe that's how it would have worked like in the 90s, early 2000s, but as soon as things hit streaming and whatnot, and it felt like everybody and their mom was getting a special, because back in the day, like HBO, Showtime comedy specials, Comedy Central, those were specials because they weren't just handing them out to everybody. Now it's like every time you log into Netflix, there's like 20 new specials. And Monique just doesn't stand out from the rest of the crowd like that. But the thing is, I just think about how she could have been so much further in her career. And yeah, you could say that the whole being labeled difficult to work with and all, slowed down her career, just like Janet Hubert said when Will Smith labeled her difficult to work with. And he eventually apologized and whatnot. But I don't think these billionaires are losing sleep over this. I mean, in the 12 plus years you've been going at them in public, on stage, on these various platforms, have either of them ever reached out to you, responded to your demands, even said your name out loud? No, they've been going about their life. So I just feel like the more Monique is demanding an apology, like my thing is this: I've been wrong before, and so I know some people are like, think about how many times, you know, people go to their day job and then they're treated like Monique. You know, in terms of like not being paid what they're owed or getting labeled to, being difficult. Basically, you're lied on at work daily. People who are wrongfully fired or discriminated against, and but the thing is, they move on. And I get it. The difference is, yeah, you have a celebrity versus an everyday person. But if I have to beg and plead or demand an apology from someone, I don't want it. I don't want it. I just think that if Monique would have just moved forward by now, if God's on her side, things would eventually fell into her favor, But the more she lashes out like this and the more stories that come out, the more true the label of being difficult to work with. Sure, maybe being difficult to work with was a lie at first, but just based off of what other people have been saying and the way she's been promoting herself, so to speak, it's giving off, yeah, this woman is difficult to work with. So, I don't know. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Do you think there'll ever be reconciliation at this? No, I mean, no, I don't think so. It's just like sing a different song at this point. Just move on.